I think the Miami Heat are slowly turning it around per se. They had a rough start to the year, but I think at this point they're starting to look more like their normal selves in terms of winning games and stuff. But let me hear your thoughts. Why do you think Kyle Lowry is someone that might need to be traded from the Miami Heat? And this is a team that currently, I would still say that they're a top 10. I would say closer maybe to 15 or so. The thing is this is a team that the start of the year they're 11 and 12. They're actually a -1 in net rating, but Bam Adebayo is doing great. Jimmy Butler needs to come back, but Bam Adebayo has been playing lights out, and Kyle Lowry's out there for just a lot of minutes, and it's not really yielding anything positive. So with Adebayo being probably the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year, do you think Kyle Lowry is somebody that they should look to trade? And how do you even trade Kyle Lowry? Because I think the only way you trade Kyle Lowry is Utah Jazz, San Antonio Spurs, Indiana Pacers. Houston Rockets have never been a team in the take on big contracts for money, it seems. So how do you not get rid of that? How do you move this contract? What up, JJ Johnson?
Dude, honestly, I don't think you can. I mean, the money's so bad that I can't believe the Miami Heat actually did this 3-year. What is it, 85? I can't believe they did it. It's just, dude, he's gonna turn 37 by the time the season ends. I think the solo looks stupid. Anyways, I think Kyle Lowry, he's gonna turn 37 by March, so when we got into the playoffs, he was shooting 8 points. He was shooting less than 30% from the field, 20% from downtown. He was absolutely abysmal. The only way they could possibly trade him is if you do a Russ for Duncan Robinson and Kyle Lowry, or I saw Tobias Harris one. I don't think that they're too interested. It have to be a contending team, in my opinion, that's so desperate for a point guard. So the Lakers are interesting. I think the Lakers really are one of the only one of the only teams. But the way Russ is playing, it seems like that's dwindling. Kyle Lowry's having a good season, or he's doing okay. He's doing better than he did last season statistically too. But yeah, I don't think he's moving that needle for him anymore. I think they kind of just have to take the loss here, and if you're going to trade Lowry, I think it'd have to be next year, and then you could start talking about teams like Houston or teams rebuilding teams that would take on the salary for a pick. But with 2 years left on the contract, I think they kind of just have to bite the bullet here.
So looking at the Miami Heat right here, you got yourself Kyle Lowry, who he's making a decent bit of money. It's 28.3, and you look at teams over here, if you package Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson, that would get it done. And then the San Antonio Spurs can do either the amicity clause, or they could do stretch and wave, where they split that $28.3 million over 5 to 10 years and just pay him $5 million a season. Then you got the Pacers, where I don't know if they would want to do this. Maybe they would, but Miles Turner and Buddy Hield would lead to $38 million, and that deal wouldn't work through unless you wanted to put Duncan Robinson in there, where they would tell you go F yourself. So I was thinking more of a Miles Turner and TJ McConnell, or you could do Buddy Hield and get yourself James Johnson. And then the next trade is looking at another rebuilding team. Is Bojan Bogdanovic is on the market, and they want to trade Bojan Bogdanovic. So Bojan Bogdanovic packaged with Corey Joseph could get it done. I believe that's actually a good deal. Kyle Lowry straight up for Corey Joseph, and Bojan Bogdanovic, you get some more three-point shooting, and you get a really competent point guard. Now, if they wanted to do a different route, it could be Al Burks, Nerlens Noel, and Corey Joseph, and that would also get it done. That way you get another backup center who's better than Dwayne Dedmon. You get a shooter in Al Burks who's been looking good, and you get that back in a point guard who can split it with Tyler Hero, Gabe Vincent, and Corey Joseph. That I think is kind of an underrated guy right there. And I think actually the out of all the trades I just proposed to you, that's kind of the best one, is talking with Detroit Pistons. I don't think the Indiana Pacers have anything really crazy to offer. And the other would be if they really wanted to try D'Angelo Russell, you would have to. I think you would have. I don't even know how that deal would get done. But I think Minnesota would be like, why would we? Yeah, Minnesota would, at this point would try to get anything to work. I feel like my T-Wolves.
I think Minnesota's really the only team out of any of those that would do it. There's no
Detroit.
They're not. Why would Troy Weaver?
Because you would.
Troy Weaver's all about flexibility. He doesn't want to pay this 37.
Okay, then San
38-year-old guy.
Antonio has done it then. San Antonio, okay, and you could do Josh.
What do they get from these trades though?
They would.
Kyle Lowry.
They would just move on. Maybe you attach a pick, a couple.
You'd have to attach a pick. Why would I want 37-year-old Kyle Lowry making $30 million a year?
This way,
that way, losing team.
They move. So like right here, you get to move off of Doug McDermott and get an asset back for Josh Richardson. I just think those are deals that could for Minnesota. If it was D'Angelo Russell for Kyle Lowry, you would have to send Kyle Lowry plus at least Dwayne Dedmon in that deal to get it done. And I don't know if that could work straight up, but I don't know if Miami would want to, lose at least the defense they get from Kyle.
Yeah, Miami's SOL here, man. They're like I stand by. The only team that would do it is a contender, in my opinion. And what they're getting, if Kyle Lowry was like 8 points, 3 assists, shooting 27% from the field, 21% from downtown, like he was in the playoffs last year, maybe we have a different convo, but he's still doing okay. He's playing 36 minutes a night right now, which is crazy. As I think fourth quarter, somebody said it, that he was kind of holding it down without the boys. But I mean,
Terry Rozier,
I think, but I just don't know what Charlotte gets from that.
Picks. They trade Terry Rozier, and they would have to include one more guy because Terry Rozier makes a bit less money.
Hayward.
You could do Hayward, but he's hurt, so it would have to be. You could do a deal where it's Terry Rozier and Hayward, and then you throw in Duncan Robinson and Dwayne Dedmon, and you send Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, and maybe I don't know if they want either Jalen McDaniels, Nick Richards, or Dennis Smith. Maybe Dennis Smith because he's playing good. And you go Dennis Smith, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward for Kyle Lowry and Duncan Robinson, and 1 or 2 picks.
Yeah, get back to me on the trade deadline. I kind of like that one, but
I think the 3 trades we said were Detroit, and what was the other one? It was Minnesota, because you could just swap Lowry for Russell.
Yeah,
no picks.
It's a big gamble for
Minnesota.
Kind of both teams, really.
Well, not a gamble for Miami because his contract expires after the season and they get the move off of.
Yeah, but you're taking the defense loss, you're taking the leadership loss. That's what I'm saying is I think Kyle Lowry's having a good enough season right now where.
What about Rudy Gay and Mike Conley?
You definitely have to give him a first.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry and a first for Mike Conley and Rudy Gay. And if Utah starts to tank.
Yeah, I like Mike Conley in that. It's just I think Miami would be a lot more open to these trades once we get to the deadline if they're still hovering around 500 and it's once they're fully healthy and they're still struggling, if they're still kind of around mediocrity, then I think all these trades you're talking about are a little bit more enticing to them. But I wouldn't say Kyle Lowry's the problem in Miami. They don't have too much offense, which is crazy. Oladipo's coming back probably next week.
Yeah, something
after that. So I think that's going to be critical to him. I don't know, man. It's interesting. Bam's got to be the Bam he has been in the last 5 games. Jimmy Butler's got to do what he's been doing, and they should be fine. My take that Miami's a playing team is looking really sexy right now, but I am rooting for them. So we'll see. I think the idea that they're open to it, I don't think that they're rushing to get to a trade. But yeah, maybe if Minnesota continues to tank and D'Lo isn't getting better, I think that interests them a little bit more. And I like that Hornet one you mentioned, but the 2 years is what really gets you.
It's the 2 years, yeah, but that's why I've suggested all the rebuilding teams, if they trade for Kyle Lowry, it's because they're going to waive and stretch him, okay? And you're going to stretch that money over a few seasons. The only reason I see Minnesota trying to do a Kyle Lowry deal is because right now D'Angelo Russell on the season is his numbers are actually going back up. It's 43% and 31.9. Like, I actually will give it D'Lo over the last 5 games has been on a tear. Like, D'Lo, like, nobody's talking about it. It's been on like a low key tear for the Timberwolves, but the Timberwolves just have been ass. And we'll get to that in a bit. But Kyle Lowry, he's over here averaging, like, their stats. It's just like you get D'Lo who's averaging 15, 44, and 31 splits, and then you get 15 points, 40 and 35 from Lowry. Lowry's dishing out 6 assists and a steal. D'Angelo Russell's getting 1.3 steals and 7 assists. So it's like,
yeah, Miami, Minnesota might be onto something, because I don't.
You would have to include a pick.
OKC.
If you're Miami, you would have to include a pick because you're trading a multi-year contract and you're getting an expiring contract back. And
They're gonna have to trade a pick regardless, unless it's for like a contract like that's just also desperate like them, or like
which would be like a Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, like a Hayward, maybe like a Tobias.